remission for your Steelers and Penguins addiction. Thank you for tuning in. I've been wanting to talk about the Aaron Rodgers situation for a while, and everyone has something to say, and I want to explain why everyone else is wrong and why Aaron Rodgers will sign a 2-year deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not a 1-year deal, but a 2-year deal, and I want to tell you exactly why. Everyone has something to say about this situation. And last year, just like Aaron Rodgers said when he finally did sign with the Steelers in June, every story out there was false. He said there was a lot of stories going out around, and all of them false. You have people like Charlie Batch saying he wants more money, people like Rod Woodson saying just sign already. Everyone has an opinion on the matter, and I believe there's already a verbal agreement. This seems like a obvious no-brainer to me that there's already a verbal agreement in place, just like last year when Aaron Rodgers agreed with Mike Tomlin, and then he signed later in June. And just like with the Jets, he told them he would sign, and he signed later. Why does he do this? He's not deliberating. He's not thinking about it. He's very enthusiastic. He said, hell yeah. I'm sure he said, hell yeah. I'm very excited. But he likes to sign later around June so he can enjoy the summer. And here's why. As soon as he signs that deal, his phone is going to blow up off the hook. People are going to be snapping his photo around. And so he doesn't get a moment's peace. And this way he gets to enjoy the summer. And even Mike McCarthy said, listen, he just wants to have some time off away from the sport without a microphone in his constant face. Yeah, he comes on the Pat McAfee show when he wants to, but that's different than having his phone blowing up constantly requesting interviews because he just signed with the Steelers. Once he signs with the Steelers, it's going to blow up. So that's why I think he's not deliberating, he's not thinking about it, he just wants a little bit of peace and quiet. So all these stories out there are just simply bullshit. He doesn't want more money. He signed for $10 million and said last year, and plus $5 million bonus or whatever, and he said, I have enough money already. And so I think it's the same exact thing this year. There's a verbal agreement, and he just wants to enjoy his summer. And everyone out there has something to say, but let's stick to the facts. Here on Bleeding Black and Gold, what do we know the facts are? Not speculating what people might think, but what are the facts? Mr. Rooney said, we want to run it back with Aaron Rodgers. But he said, I don't think that Aaron Rodgers will sign because Mike Tomlin is gone. And then what do? They go out and get Aaron Rodgers' old coach, Mike McCarthy. Okay, so what do you think's going to happen? Right there, it's 1 + 1 = 2. He said, we want to run it back with Rodgers. And then he signed Mike McCarthy, his former coach. And then Mike McCarthy is immediately in talks with Aaron Rodgers. So to me, if you just follow the facts, what Mr. Rooney said, and the fact that he hired his former coach, then that would lead one to suspect. And forgive the AI generated, not an Omar Khan here, but Omar Khan has been talking to Rodgers frequently. He said, I don't think the situation is going to be the same as last year, because last year Aaron Rodgers confirmed with Mike Tomlin, and this year he's already confirmed with Omar Khan. So Khan feels comfortable. He said, yeah, sure, I'll sign. Can you just let me sign the deal in June so I can have a couple months' peace? That way the press leaves me alone. And he can't come out and say that either. So he just said, I'll sign in June. Is that okay? Yeah, sure, man, no problem. And this is why they're saying, well, we're comfortable with Will Howard, so people don't keep pressuring this. And it's all bullshit stories that the Steelers never inquired about the Arizona quarterback Kyle Murray, and they never inquired about Kirk Cousins. They never inquired about Joe Flacco because there's already a verbal agreement with Joe Flacco, with Aaron Rodgers, like he said. Every story out there has been false, and we want to run it back. And they've already signed a 2-year deal. Talks are going well. So all you have to do is follow what they say. You don't have to speculate. You don't have to guess. Just follow what people are saying. And then Mike McCarthy said he's been talking to Aaron Rodgers. He said he was designing the playbook for Aaron Rodgers. How come people are still speculating after Mike McCarthy said, I'm designing the playbook for Aaron Rodgers. And by the way, in case something happens, Will Howard is the backup in the playbook. Nothing to do with Mason Rudolph. I think Mason Rudolph might be on the bubble if they go ahead and draft Drew Allar, Ty Simpson tomorrow, or Saturday or Friday or Saturday. Ty Simpson, Drew Allar, Carson Beck, and they have Will Howard. Then I think Rudolph is playing for his job, because if Will Howard can pass up Mason Rudolph on the depth chart, and if he outplays Rudolph in the preseason, say he gets 3 touchdowns and Rudolph gets 1 touchdown, then they say, okay, we're going to go with Howard as number 2, and then Rudolph drops to number 3, and then are they going to keep 4 quarterbacks? If they do sign, and we have 12 picks, so chances are they're going to sign Beck or Allar or one of these late round draft picks, if they don't jump up and get Ty Simpson, which could be a reach for them. And I think they're happy with Aaron Rodgers, Will Howard, Mason Rudolph, or Ty Simpson Allar. But if you just listen to what the coach said, we want to run it back. All the stories are false. Rooney said we want to run it back, and I'm designing plays for Aaron Rodgers. So just follow the facts here, guys. What has Rodgers said himself? What do we know from Rodgers, what he said himself? This is why I don't feel like Rodgers is deliberating. I don't feel like he's thinking about it. I think he's with hell to the, I want to play again. Who will have me? I'm 43 years old. Not a lot of people want me anymore. And if you guys still want me, hell yeah, I want to play. Just can you give me a little time away so I can hang out with my new wife and go to the beach and go skiing, and then I don't get hounded by the press, and I'll sign in June? Because, yeah, sure. All right, done. Deal. Boom. Done. Over. Because he already said he wanted to run it back on the Cam Hayward show. So there's no sit there and reason. Like, we have all the information in front of us. There's nothing to really speculate about. He said he wanted to run it back on the Cam Hayward show already. So why does a 2-year deal make sense and not a 1-year deal? Well, because this is a weak quarterback class. Like I said, they could get Drew Allar or Ty Simpson, but it's not a deep class, and they could have Aaron Rodgers train Will Howard for another season. He had a broken hand last year, so this year Will Howard can have a higher profile on the team. Will Howard will play. You Will Howard fans, he'll play more. He'll play in preseason. He has a chance. Will Howard has a chance to pass up Mason Rudolph on the depth chart. And then if they draft Ty Simpson or Drew Allar, he can also learn from Aaron Rodgers. And then next year when they're going to draft, who knows who they draft? Maybe everyone wants Archie Manning. If Archie Manning has a good year, one of these guys, Cade Klubnik, Dante, Lenora Sellers, everyone knows the names. There's this top strong class next year, and this is why it would make sense to sign Aaron Rodgers for 2 years, so he could sign Howard and he could sign whoever next year. You're not turning it over to these rookies while you're developing. Mike McCarthy and Rodgers can develop the offense and hopefully build it up to the status that Green Bay had when they were the top 10 offense for 10 years, or even when Dallas had with Dak Prescott.